From Wall Street to Main Street to help small business owners have the same capital as corporate America and give them the same resources as a larger company. We cover business funding, business credit, scaling, business consulting, and much more. Check out the website at shieldadvisorygroup.com. Welcome to the show, The Liquid Lunch Project.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Liquid Lunch Project. I am Matthew R. Meehan alongside my partner, the Professor Luigi Rosabianca. What's on tap today, Lou?
Matt, I'm going to give you a hypothetical. Imagine there's a small business owner out there and he's built the perfect widget. It's the perfect machine. It's the perfect business model. His showroom is gorgeous. Everything is perfect. The business is great. But if a business sells in a forest and no one sees it, what good is that business? Enter stage left, Atiba de Souza, the content Superman. Atiba, walk us through how critical it is to have not only content, but the right message and the right SEO out there. So in 2024, that message for the business is not only cohesive, but it's landing on the eyes and ears of the ultimate purchasers.
Yeah. Hey, first and foremost, gentlemen, thank you for having me. It's so great to be here and to share with y'all today. And Lou, dude, I love you coming out of the box punching with a serious question. So let's go. Let's go. Let's have some fun. Right. And here's the deal. And I've been saying this for well over a decade, actually, well, 15 years. There are three keys to traffic. So when we talk about SEO, the bottom line of what we're talking about is traffic. You want eyeballs on your stuff, right? To your point, if no one knows it, you're not making any noise. You're just in the forest by yourself, right? So that's what we're talking about. But more precisely, we're talking about making sure we get the right eyeballs, because if you're selling to 60-year-old men and you got nothing but 15-year-old girls on your website, you're wasting your time. So how do you get the right eyeballs? Okay. That's where people then throw in the term SEO and it gets all blah, 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 and mushy. Let me break it down to you. There are really three things. SEO is one of them, but there are three things that are the keys to traffic, my friends. Number one is being absolutely obsessed with your audience. Absolutely obsessed. For example, if I came on this show today knowing that we're talking to small businesses and only talked about enterprise level solutions, that would be an absolute waste of everyone's time. Know who you're talking to. Know your audience. Be obsessed with them. Understand what moves them. Understand what pains them. Understand what they need to know. That's the first thing. Once you're obsessed with your audience, that then aligns to your content strategy. And that's number two, your content strategy. I know what your pains are. I know what you need to know. Now, let me actually tell it to you. Guess what? If you do those two things right, if you master those two things, SEO magically falls into place. Sure, we can get into all the technicals of site speed and backlinks and all of that. Yes, is important. But if you got the greatest site speed, if you got all the technical SEO right, if you got all the backlinks right, heck, even if you do all the on-page stuff right, but your content sucks, nobody wants to read it. Nobody wants to view it. And so I share this with small business owners all the time, and most of them hate when I say this. That company offering you SEO for $6.99 is wasting your money. If they're not starting off with understanding who your customer is, what your audience really is, and what content they need, you're never going to get anywhere. And that is the key. It was the key 15 years ago, and it's even more the key today as AI and all the Google algorithm updates are coming out because of AI.
Atiba, we also need to know the rules of the game, right? Like if we're playing Monopoly today, we know every time we pass go, we're collecting $200.
Right.
When we're playing Facebook's game and Google's games, walk us through how the small, humble business owner
Yeah.
can play the games at their level,
Mm-hmm.
inevitably using their rules.
Yeah. So that's a really great question, man. Dude. So first you hit me with a jab. Nah, that was a hook. I like it. Let's go. We punch in here. This is good because here's the deal. You're so right. And if you try to play the game by rules from 5 years ago, you're stuck. Okay. Here's the reality of search right now. Google and SGE is a big thing, and they're trying to figure out how to give you a generative answer at the top of search. Then there are ads. Then, if it's a local search, depending on your business, there might be some local results. Then, somewhere in there, there's video results. And then there is organic results, your website, your blog, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. 10 years ago, it was ads and then your website and your blog. Now think about all that stuff that's in the middle. This is the game that's changed. And so I tell business owners all the time, the way that you got to play the game today is be video first. Video SEO right now is where written blog SEO was in 2007. You have major opportunity because even listen to what I said. They want to put their generative stuff first. They want to put their ads, and then it goes local or video next. Long before you even see websites. So what you're doing on YouTube, let me rephrase, what you're not doing on YouTube is greatly affecting you. And it also gives you a major advantage. I was in Phoenix 2 weeks ago, and I was talking to a group of doctors, and they were talking about the fact that, they're having such challenges because these big conglomerates are coming in to their local areas. And when those big conglomerates come in, they dominate SERP. I said, yeah, they do, but they don't dominate the video SERP. You can actually outrank them in video because they don't have the time to create video.
So with that said, though, right? Where
Yeah.
are you hosting these videos? I mean, if most of the world is using Google, are you using YouTube to host these videos?
Yes,
Or post on
absolutely.
its own platform?
Absolutely. YouTube is the best place to host your videos. Why? Because Google owns YouTube, right? One of the things that also happened, so there's a bunch of stuff that's happened over the last couple of years. Obviously, everyone is gaga over AI and the changes that's made. Great. Thank you, ChatGPT. Wonderful. Let's put that aside for a moment. Before that, though, Google was in a major, major war against TikTok. The war against TikTok has kind of fizzled now because of AI. But the big thing was TikTok. TikTok was battling Instagram. And what's the playground that they're battling on? Video. Google has actually reclassified a large chunk of its database to be video first content, meaning they want to show a video in search results before written results. Where are they going to go to find that video? YouTube.
Makes total sense. I was actually looking at, I had to figure out how to do something the other day. So I Googled it. I started reading these articles. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Let me just go to video. And I just watched 2 videos and I got it done instead of sitting through 7 articles looking for exactly what I wanted. I mean,
exactly.
I think the older generation may not be doing that, but I mean, that's all the younger generation is doing these things. Why am I going to read something when I can just watch a video and they're going to show me exactly how to do it?
So you see, that's where it gets interesting because that's actually not even true.
Really?
Yes, because my clientele are medical professionals and all in the regenerative medicine space, and all of them serve clients above 55 years old.
Okay.
And we do nothing but video for them. Right.
So how do you work with your clients? Are you guys and your agency, are you recording the content? Are you editing? Are you producing it? Are you distributing it? Or are you doing like white glove service?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a complete white glove service. We actually do all the research for you. So we're going to do everything. Understand your audience, create the content strategy that will align with your audience based on search results, right? Based on what people are actually searching for. And then we help you create all the videos. We do all of the editing. We do all of the publishing, all the distribution. We take care of the whole kit and caboodle. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Atiba, it may sound weird to start with a negative, but it seems like a small business owner has a lot to do to achieve that holy trinity that you mentioned. Can you give us, to use your Superman analogy, the kryptonite of what small businesses shouldn't do? Like, what are the old fogies doing that they should really stay away from? I mean, if it's non-video, is that like a no-fly zone?
Yeah, I think at this day and age, non-video is a no-fly zone. As in terms of a place to start in your strategy. Okay, there's just way too much competition. Way too much competition. And I don't know about you, right? There was a couple of years ago, it was a matter of fact, right as the pandemic was lifting, if you will, first outing was a fishing trip. And me and a group of buddies, we chartered a boat, and the captain took us out. And when the captain took us out, we noticed that there were other captains taking other boats out, and they were all going to the right. Like, no joke, there were about 50 boats going to the right. We were the only boat going to the left. And we're sitting there like, hey, everybody's going over there. Should we be? He said, no, don't worry. I got you. He took us to a spot, and we were fishing for rockfish, and you can only catch at that time 2 or 3 per person. We caught 18 rockfish in 15 minutes.
Wow.
Because nobody else was fishing there. Right? And that's like creating blog content today. Everyone's doing it. You're not going to be better than the next guy or gal. However, so few people are creating video for what you do and what your business is that you can stand out so quickly.
So let's talk about the video production angle for a second, right? So
Yeah.
content can be anything from a stupid TikTok pointing at things, or, somebody going on there and just showcasing their talents and what they know how to do at a seminar or speaking on stage. I know the answer is probably going to be, what should you do? It should be all of it. But what like strategies do you put in touch for your clients? Like, do you briefings for them, tell them what to say, what to do? Because that's the fear of most business owners that I speak to before they get on video is I don't know what to do. And they waste 3 hours planning and then 17 hours recording because they didn't like what they shot.
Yeah. So let's work backwards. Okay. I've been creating video and been on video myself since 2007. I still don't watch my own videos. So the whole thing of, I don't like what I shot, stop looking at yourself. You'll never like it. I still don't like it. Just stop.
It's like the chef that doesn't eat his own food. I love it.
Well, the thing is, we're always going to be critical. And we're super critical. We see all the flaws in ourselves versus all of the good. And that's the challenge there with video. We're just going to see the imperfections. Okay. So that's one side. Now, moving backwards in terms of content strategy and what we're talking about, here's the easiest way. And so this is what I tell people, even before they work with me, right? Is you want to go create content. Here's the easiest way to understand audience and be obsessed with your audience and have a content strategy. Someone has called you on the phone. You have done a Zoom call with a client before they purchase from you. In that time period, they asked you a question. Matter of fact, you probably could list the common questions you get asked. Turn on the camera and answer each one.
Is there a strategy for how long the content should be? Are we looking at shorts like TikTok version? Or are we looking at like longer YouTube, Joe Rogan 3-hour podcasts?
Yeah, that's a really great question. And here's the truth to that question. It needs to be long enough to, especially when you're doing the question answer bit, it needs to be long enough to answer the question and not a moment longer. One of the beauties of YouTube is YouTube knows when you're pontificating. YouTube knows that, hey, you're answering this question. That probably is a 6-minute answer. So if you're still talking at 25 minutes, you're pontificating. Versus this is a 6-minute answer. You only did it in 45 seconds. Probably not very valuable. Okay. Now, I want to be clear there, though. I want to be clear there because this is where people do trip themselves up. And this is the curse of knowledge. and you are listening to us, the three of us, y'all have the curse of knowledge. You've been doing something for a long time. You're an expert at it. And as an expert, one, you talk like you're an insider, and two, you talk way too much. Way too much. Most people have no clue what you're talking about. Understand that they're asking a question. Why are they asking a question? What is it that they want to know? Tell them that. It's kind of like my doctors who are like, hey, how does the PRP procedure work? Okay, that's great. They want to know that. They don't want to know about the spin rate of your machine. No one cares. That's not the question that they asked. Answer the specific question. Stay focused.
Well, that goes to people having a good bedside manner. They can relate to people. But sometimes going to your doctors, what made them successful is being so technically precise. And that's their superpower. How do they kind of take that cloak off and then just kind of downshift 2 or 3 gears to make it a bit simpler? Because look, half these Latin words they're using, we have no idea. Like you said, I have a common cold. Am I taking Robitussin or am I taking chicken soup? Just walk me through it.
Let me know, right? Exactly. And so that, again, that is the curse of knowledge. And as experts,
I've never heard it said so beautifully.
Oh, thank you. The thing here with the curse of knowledge, and this is one of the things that we provide to our clients when you work with us, is we actually help you virtually. We direct your video. So when you start rambling on your curse of knowledge, we'll cut you and say, hey, no, come back to this point, right? Let's look at this. And the key here is the person who asked the question, they're standing with 2 feet planted on the ground. And what they want to do is take 1 step forward. They're not actually trying to get the entire solution right now. That question is designed for them, in their minds, why they asked it, to take 1 step forward.
Yeah.
And so what's the least that they need to know to make that 1 step?
But you're going back to what you said earlier. Some of these experts, ourselves included, we love to pontificate because we want to hear ourselves talk. We want to hear how smart we are, but that doesn't solve the problem. The problem is, look, in Matt's situation, this guy needs a loan. He needs a piece of machinery to operate his business. I don't want to hear about cap rates and APR. Just what am I funding, right? All right, so we appreciate that. So keep it simple. Now, Atiba, when your parents put you on this little capsule and planet Krypton and they shipped you out to planet Earth and you landed in a little farm in Kansas and you said your first cries, how did baby Atiba end up becoming the content Superman and involved in SEO? Like, give us your origin story.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. So back in 1996, 2 friends and I started a business. And back then, because we were technical, it was called a computer consulting firm, because that's what you called anything in computers back in 1996, right? You were a computer consultant. And yes, we did everything from lay wire to build websites. And in that, we were doing tons of research. The web was still very, very young. But we were doing tons of research on the web to learn stuff because clients were calling and we didn't know and we had to figure things out. Well, we got to the place where we had thousands of bookmarks of websites we had been to, stuff that we had learned. And let's face it, in 2024, bookmarks and browsers suck. In 1996, yeah, it was real bad. And so we were in this place where we're like, we've got all of this data, but we don't know what to do with it. Wouldn't it be cool if we could search our bookmarks for what we're looking for? That's where it all started. And so we built our very first search engine. And then we realized we could take that and then go and search stuff on the web. And so we built a search engine in 1996. Now, we thought we were cool stuff because in 97, we sold it for $2,500. We thought we had hit the jackpot. Yeah, well, Google proved us wrong.
I mean, Atiba, even with inflation and price adjustments, That still wasn't a lot of money back then.
Oh, it was a lot of money back then. Oh yeah. I mean, we were ecstatic back then, right? To get to $2,500. Yeah, we thought we were hot stuff, right? That then parlayed me into building search systems for other private sector and then the public sector, getting into the government. Almost every 3-letter acronym in the government, I have built a search system for, from the EPA to the INS to the DLA to DOD, all of them I have built search systems for. Now, that got me in a place where I understood search from the inside out. I understood how the machine was trying to work, right? And we were dealing with, especially when I got to the government, really old people who had no clue how to use a computer, trying to get data out of it. And so it gave me a really great lens of both sides of the equation, right? Then around 2004, I left government work, and looking back into the private sector and looking to Google at that time, realizing that Google had a major problem in 2005, 2006 timeframe. And that problem was there were spammers, clever marketers who had figured out how to build link farms and get trashy content to the top of search. And Google's there trying to figure out, how do we get this stuff out and get relevant content at the top? And we were sitting around thinking, well, that's easy, right? Because we understood it from the inside out. And so I actually surmised back in 2006, I believe this is the way Google's going to go in terms of understanding what relevant content is. And so we started building an algorithm around that for how to create content. Then we layered on the fact that I love to tell stories, if you couldn't tell. Right? So we layered on storytelling because nothing holds human attention like story. So we figured if we could take super technical content, turn it into story that held people's attention, then that would become the relevant content that Google is looking for. It would naturally fit and check all of the boxes for semantic keywords, which came later. We were doing semantic keywords back in 2008, but semantic keywords, all that type of stuff, because we figured that's where Google was going. Well, we were right. We were right. We were so right that in the early 2010s, we got to the place where we guaranteed that we would get your content to rank in the top 3 of Google. And it worked. Then SEO became a commodity around 2017, and it became just a mess because everyone wanted to flood the industry and say, hey, I can do your SEO for $3.99, right? And it was a mess. And so 2019, I was actually on my way out of the industry. I'd actually said, we're going to close the agency, and I'm gone. I'm done. I'm closing up shop. And then we all know what happened at the end of 2019. So the pandemic hit, the clients went away, and I said, perfect. Right? Like opportunity to leave. But fortunately, I'm always a student. And so I was reading a book by Sean Cannell on YouTube, right? Because I was thinking maybe I'll look at YouTube next and, creating more videos and stuff. And I'm listening to Sean's book, and I'm listening to his strategy on how they create YouTube content. And I'm like, that's exactly what we've been doing. And I said, and at that moment, the epiphany hit. What if we could take everything that we knew about search, marry it with the strategy that Sean's saying, which we were already using, and we could get YouTube videos to rank on page 1 of Google. That's where I was in 2020. And that's what we've proven that we can do consistently.
So the main space that you focus in is medical doctors?
Yeah. 95% of my clientele are medical doctors who are leaving insurance for cash-based practices. That's on the agency side. Now, there's lots of other people who need help. And so a couple of the things that we're doing this year is we've already launched a DIY version of what we do, which is actually all AI assisted, right? So it teaches you the principles of marketing, the principles of traffic, and then shows you how to use AI to actually help you accomplish that and create great content. So that's a DIY, and then we're building a done with you tier as well.
Very nice. So I have a question for you. So when you have, so we're talking about YouTube and Google right now specifically, but are you reusing any content on other platforms? Some
Absolutely.
Instagram, Facebook, and Google. Okay. So when you're doing this, you're not dropping the link from YouTube, are you? Because I've heard that was a no-no. You're
That's
uploading
a huge
it.
no-no.
Okay. So you're uploading it to each platform individually.
Yeah. So number one, just to deal with that, and so for people who don't understand, every single platform is jealous. Okay. They're all jealous. They want eyeballs on their platform, and they don't want those eyeballs to leave. So if you put a link to someone else's platform on theirs, they don't like it at all, right? Because you're taking eyeballs away from them. So no, you can't do that. You can't put a YouTube video link on your Instagram page. Will not work. Now, what we teach our clients is very simple. You start with YouTube, and then we figure out the platform that your audience is on. Okay. Now we're going to post it everywhere. So we'll go to LinkedIn, and we'll go to Facebook, and we'll go to Instagram, and we'll go to TikTok. But we may realize that your ideal customer is really on Instagram. So we will tailor the content, not the stuff on YouTube. We'll tailor the content to Instagram. Once we've mastered Instagram, we'll say, okay, where are they next? Well, the next biggest group of my clients are on LinkedIn. Now we will have Instagram tailored content and then LinkedIn tailored content, because the same content does not perform the same on both. It just doesn't.
Atiba, what's your advice to the doctor that may be a little bit timid or an introvert and doesn't want to do the video himself and wants to hire an actor or just a third party to do it? What's your spin on that?
Yeah, that's a really, really great question. And that takes us back to understanding your audience, and then content strategy, and the bridge that happens in between there. And the bridge that happens in between there now from the client side is know, like, trust. No one buys from anyone they do not trust. I guarantee you, if you walk outside right now and somebody you've never met before walks up to you and says, hey, here are keys to a brand new Mercedes. I need $500 and the car is yours. You're not going to buy it. For the simple fact that you don't trust them. Okay? You don't. And
I'm definitely stealing. That's a great analogy. I'm stealing that one. I'll give you credit the first 3 times, and then I'm taking it.
It's all you need to give credit the first 3 times. Take it. Okay. The reality here is that's your customer. Okay. Your customer needs to get to know you, like you, and trust you. That's the point of creating content. Right? With my doctors, and tell them up front, my goal is that people walk through your doors with credit cards in hand, ready to go and say, let me buy right now. Okay. That is the exact purpose of creating content. And so with that, it's really recognizing that you've got to think about how that journey happens, which is something we help you work through as well. But creating that journey is what endears people to you long term. Did that answer the whole question? I think I missed a piece of your question in there.
No, it was well answered. Well answered. So, Doc, figure it out. Do your video. Don't do your video. Just make sure your message is concise and you're putting value out there.
Yeah, that was the part that I missed, because you asked about actors. So I just had this conversation 3 weeks ago with a doctor who said to me, I mean, the reality is I can just get an AI actor and just tell it what to say and just say it. Why do I have to get on camera? I mean, I'm not doing that. Blah, 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 blah. Like, yeah, you could. And that AI actor does not exist in your office. And so the moment in time that AI actor figures out how to build know, like, and trust, it all is shattered the moment they walk into your office and realize it was an AI actor.
It's interesting, you know, because we're in the business acquisition space too. And what's contradictory to what you say is you don't really want to buy a business with somebody's name on the door.
Yes, you don't.
Right. So how could we, how could
Yes.
you, how could we all figure that out and make it balanced?
It's a fantastic question. And I've got a great diagram that explains this in terms of how we look at content, right?
I want that diagram because when I see John Smith, dentist, I say, that's it. It's over because he retires or, breaks his leg.
Right.
Bye-bye business.
Here's the deal. So when this diagram is massive of how we look at content, and I've only been talking about the top down of that diagram. The bottom up of that diagram is the business, most specifically the proprietary process. See, most of us think we're selling a widget, and that widget gets attached to us instead of selling an outcome that's attached to a proprietary process. You see, when you sell an outcome that's attached to a proprietary process, now we can start to separate the persona from the process.
Because in theory, Atiba, because if I like when you put your hands in my mouth, I may not like it when Matt puts his hands in my mouth, right? There's that visceral human connection. Look, there's a neighborhood restaurant that my wife and I love to go to. We love to go to it. I tell you, we go there twice a week because we're afraid this guy is going out of business because the food's amazing, the service is amazing.
Good for you.
But he's a little gruff, right? Like he's just you got to play the game a little bit. You got to get people to you got to schmooze them, right? Some people it's innate. Some people just have that charisma, some don't.
Right.
So how do you impart that?
Yeah. I love guys like that because that's the genius of what we do on camera with you. Because there is love for why you do this, and we help you bring that out. Now, you might still be gruff, but people will feel that love, right? And to your point about you may not like my hands versus Matt's hands in your mouth, yeah, that's very true. But when we're selling the process, and so this is what we do with our larger clients who have multiple locations. We have clients that have 8 locations and 15 doctors. Okay, they got to sell the process because you'll never see possibly that one doctor that you saw on camera. But you got to talk about why that process works and why, and impart, and this is the hardest part, impart the trust and engender that in the process and in the other providers. Okay, so when you talk about acquisition, going back to that and saying, how do we do that? Well, yes, there comes a point where you have to split the persona of the person and the proprietary process. And then as that persona of the person splits, then they talk about the proprietary process, and then they take their trust and put it in other people that also start to show up on video as well.
I like that.
I'm sold, Matt.
Yeah, no, it's a great. I never thought about it that way.
I think
I'm speechless, and I usually never am.
Well, but in fairness, that's not your business is acquisition, and you're doing an evaluation, right? Mm-hmm. And versus my business, I am actually trying to set you up for sale. And so I'm thinking through, okay, I know where you are today. And right now, today, you need to be the face of this business. But how do we transition that longer term so that you can get separation? Because if you hang around me long enough, you'll know I talk a lot about you didn't get into this business to be tied to it. You got into it to be free. And how do you get free?
Atiba, what you just stated in the last 20 or 30 words is basically the key to success in small business in America, right? It's that person that is resistant to scaling because he or she has to almost detach himself from his life's work, and it's not easy to do that because that's your baby, right? So yeah, kudos to you for trying to pull that off, and obviously you're doing it successfully.
You guys know Ryan Dice, I assume.
I know Roland Fraser.
Okay, you know Roland. And so Ryan Dice just wrote a book on it just came out a month or so ago on how to scale your business and how to do this, right? And I've known Ryan for a long time. I did a presentation. Ryan was in the room. He was actually it was his show. And so he gets up after my presentation and he said, what Atiba just gave you is the missing link from my book of how to actually get free in your business, how to actually take all the stuff that you're great at and get somebody else to do it better than you so that you actually can walk away.
Yeah, no, what you just said there makes a lot of sense. And I never thought about it that way. Like certain industries that we're involved in, we don't want to be the face of anything, right? Because we bought it to fix it, to sell it, right? Or we'll create a business that we want to sell and we don't want to be associated with it. We don't want the success of the business to rely just on us. Even though it's a superpower in the beginning, it becomes a liability.
Long term. Absolutely.
Right? So that's amazing, man. Hey, we really appreciate you being here. Why don't you tell the audience where they can find you on the socials and on the web or YouTube?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, so first and foremost, thank y'all for having me. And audience, thank y'all for being here. Thanks for hanging out with us for 35 minutes. Glad you're still here. And listen, I know that I probably opened more can of worms than answered questions succinctly for you today. And so if I did, do me a favor. Go to meetatiba.com. That's meet, A-T-I, B as in boy, A.com. That's going to take you directly to my LinkedIn. When you get there, don't hit the follow button, hit connect. Connect with me, send me a message, tell me you saw me on the show on Liquid Launch, and ask me your question because I want to answer your question.
Atiba, thank you, brother. I have one question before we let you run.
Oh, yeah.
What was the best decade to be a marketer?
Ooh, that's a good one.
You in the internet marketing stage? Are you a madman back in the day?
Yeah. So I got to give an and to this. Okay, I got to give an and to this. So I'm going to say the 80s. Okay.
Love the white shoulders.
Say again.
Love the white shoulders.
Yes.
Loud eyes.
Love the 80s. And I'm going to say 2024 and beyond, the next 10 years. Here's why. I fully 100% believe that smart people are about to get smarter and dumb people are about to get dumber. And this is an opportunity. What AI has presented to us is an opportunity where for those of us who truly understand the principles that existed back in the 80s and before, who truly understand the principles of human connection and communication, you're going to be able to do amazing things in the next 10 years. The rest of y'all suck.
Atiba, thank you so much, my man. Everybody, that's a wrap of the Liquid Lunch Project. We'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for listening to the show. And make sure you subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend. We'll see you on the next episode of the Liquid Lunch Project.